So you know me, I'm Victoria, and this is Irina, a wonderful, wonderful lady who came for treatment not so long ago.
Hi, nice to see you in this situation as a podcast. We decided to do kind of a short podcast to explain how is the activities. I'll leave you to explain what you are doing. How is your work? We'll discuss about work further. From your point of view as an um, as a professional and from a therapist as a client.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So we're hoping with a bit of back and forth that we can answer a few questions for people who are not sure what RTT is. If you're not sure what RTT is, Irina as a client and myself as a therapist, that's what we're hoping to do, is just to give you a few pointers as to what it's all about, and she's going to tell you a few things about what it did for her. So
yes, one of my first question is what is RTT, because you mentioned you do RTT hypnotherapy, and what's the difference between RTT hypnotherapy and hypnotherapy? Because before I came to you, I've heard about the hypnotherapy, and I didn't know that RTT is different than hypnotherapy.
So old-fashioned hypnotherapy would be all about suggestion. So, for instance, if you wanted to stop smoking, the old-fashioned way of using hypnosis would have been to use hypnosis to make you nice and calm, and then give you suggestions about smoking not being very nice, maybe wave a dirty ashtray under your nose, that sort of thing, to dissuade you from wanting to smoke. Where with RTT, it's completely different. We hypnotise you, just put you into a relaxed state, and then it's a case of asking the mind, when did smoking become the answer to the problem? So when you go to a doctor, they look at the symptoms and then they uh, diagnose a problem. Whereas with hypnotherapy, you come with the problem and then we ask, where did the problem come from? We don't say, what medication can we give to cover it? We say, let's look at it full on in the face and ask it, where did it come from? So rather than using Nicorette patches or chewing gum to cover the problem and try to forget about it, which you never would, because everybody knows you go back to these things over and over again. When emotions in life go wobbly, you go back to your soother. So with RTT, we're looking at the root cause. For instance, a child seeing their mother very, very stressed out after something bad happening when they were only a toddler, maybe the mum having a miscarriage or something like that, and the toddler seeing or feeling all the awful emotions the mum is having and focusing on the mum, and then seeing the mum smoke and feeling that that's what makes her system feel calmer. The learning of why it became the answer then enables you to drop the learning, and therefore the habit's no longer needed. So that's what RTT is. It's looking for the root cause, finding it and eliminating it so that you can let go of what's not serving you.
Okay, I've got 20 questions now. Let's go to the next one, which um, I want, because before coming to you, I've done therapy, the classic one, for a year almost. Um, do you do in your RTT sessions kind of the same questions and kind of ask what happened in the past? How far do you go with your question with the person when he's coming or she's coming to you about the past? Or do you speak less in a session, or how is this part, if it doesn't make sense?
So we're using hypnotherapy to be as fast as heal things as fast as possible. So we're just asking the mind. You're asking the problem of today. When my client sits in this chair, I say, what is the problem of today? What is it that you would like to change or get for yourself or get rid of? And then I say, what's in the way of that? And people will say, well, I'm too anxious. Like if I got someone who was wanting to speak on stage but daredn't, you were speaking about somebody earlier, weren't you?
Yeah.
Your friend.
Yes.
who didn't want to go on stage with his musical instrument. Well, to say to someone, oh, we can hypnotize you and tell you that you don't mind it and you can keep listening to a recording that's saying you don't like it, that would be one thing to try to help them to overcome. But it's really quite unfair. And for a coach to say, oh, come on, you've just got to get with it and do this thing and get past it, again, unfair. RTT is about saying, that's fine that you don't want to go on stage. That's absolutely fine. That is a normal thing for you because you learned it from somewhere. What we're going to do now is get you into a calm state and then we're going to look, ask your mind, where did I learn that? That I don't want to go on stage. Where did I learn that going on stage was going to make me feel sick? When did I learn it? Because I'll guarantee you this. You learned it when you did put yourself out there. And that's why your body won't let you do it again. But the moment you look at the incident that's, you say, oh no, I've never been on stage. That's what people say, I've never been on stage, never did it. Well, they did, but the piece of memory was so upsetting and traumatic at the time when they were only probably 3 and just doing a dance for the auntie and the grandma, and they tripped over, or the sister elbowed them and they both ended up crying. It isn't about whether or not you've been on stage, it's when you've put yourself out there and it's gone badly and you wish you hadn't. And that happens so many times to people when we're children. But your mind chops the piece of memory out when you're asleep in bed at night when you're under 7, because that's what it does. Chops the piece of memory out and puts it in the recycle bin. And then every time you try to go on stage or put yourself out there or put yourself on camera like we are doing, your body says no. I know about it because I used to be a funeral minister and I used to be very nervous before every service that I did. Walking down with the coffin behind me, I would feel massive anxiety about whether or not I was going to say the right name and the right date of birth and get the service right from start to finish. But I pushed myself through because I loved my job. And now I know about RTT, and I wouldn't have to do that these days. All I would have to do is do what I did. Go to the RTT therapist and say, please take away my anxiety, because I don't know why I get so fearful about putting myself out there. And RTT did that for me. So I'm not bothered about this. As we were getting ready, you said, oh, well, have you got nerves? And I don't have anymore. I did used to have loads, now I don't have any. But it's because they took that away for me. And as a free gift, after getting rid of my anxiety, as you know, and I'll drop the photographs down below, I also went from a size 14 to a size 8 in about 8 weeks. I'll drop the photographs so you can see. But that was because I didn't need to be fearful, so I didn't need a big fat jacket to protect me from the world. I didn't feel very safe in the world, and I thought I was always going to get something wrong. And that gladly now is no more.
Yes, it's
Changes your perspective, doesn't it? Did it change your perspective?
yes, it's the thing is I felt kind of straight away changes, but in the first 2 weeks was small changes, which almost if you don't follow your progress, almost you can't see them. But after I came first time in September, we've done first session. It's almost half a year now, and I've noticed I started kind of even this podcast. I've started to go more live, be more visible on social media.
Yeah.
At my job, I still have progress to do there, but it's work in progress, and I've seen.
And how you feeling yourself? Because you were having feelings that you didn't want. Do you feel calm?
Yes,
now?
I feel calmer and more confident of doing things.
Yeah.
And before I had all my plans in my head. My plans started kind of to get a shape, and I've started to put the plans into actions. And this is what I needed when I came to you, because I had the
from
plan.
stuck
Yes,
to actually doing it.
yes,
Yeah,
to doing because I've been stuck. All my plans were in my head 5 years, and even was so good. I had so good plans
Yeah.
that was I've been on the stage. I had lots of people with my vision, lots of people, hundreds, millions of people, they will follow me, but I've been in bed doing nothing.
Yeah.
And these are steps which I started to do to go out and show myself, kind of to attract my kind of to be on the stage, physical, not just in my mind.
Yeah.
And was kind of a start.
Yeah. It just you just do go from being where you were stuck to getting on with it.
And
because it clears your mind of the things that have been stopping you. Everybody's got a thing that's been stopping them from getting out there, doing what they want to do, changing the job or whatever it is in life that they're stuck with. There is a reason. You were taught that very thing, whether it was watching your mum and dad arguing and thinking, well, I'm never going to get married, and then forgetting that you ever said that, and then desperately wanting to be happy by the time you get to 25 or 30 and thinking, oh, I wish I could have, I can't understand why I can't find a relationship. And then on the hypnosis, you see that when you were 6, you said to yourself, don't ever do this thing that they've done. Don't ever get married. And it was just an argument that they just had when one of them was feeling bad or had a drink. So it's amazing to see when you look at the scenes your mind shows you in the past, how they've affected you up to the present day. That is an amazing thing. It's not too painful. Nobody has to be scared about having to look at traumatic things. Your mind is very clever, very careful to just give you a taste. That's why we look at 3 scenes, so you can join the dots together. Ever felt like you had a bit of missing piece from your jigsaw? Well, you have. It's them bits that your mind cut out. They're missing. And when you put them back, the Rolodex of your mind, then just all makes sense again. And you can see why that happening as a child, like the things you visited that happened when you were a child, how they're just not relevant anymore because you're a grown up, and it just allows your mind to start to move forward. It's an amazing thing. Have you any more questions?
Yes, because I've asked you about kind of I want to clarify the difference between how we can heal, because some people, as me, we start to follow different gurus, as you said, and I've done meditation, and I want to ask you, what's the difference between meditation and RTT hypnotherapy? I've seen on my skin what's the difference. I can tell you. But what for the people, maybe someone is thinking, I don't need RTT hypnotherapy because I'm doing meditation and I can heal that way.
Mm-hmm. Did you say you feel on your skin?
Yes, I felt.
That's a beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah.
So, you've had the results, so you know the difference. So meditation, marvellous, isn't it? And it's good to meditate after you've had RTT, because your mind's a lot calmer and you know how to do it. And the hypnotherapy tape is a little bit like meditation in a tin without having to try. So that's all lovely. But the difference is with meditation, you're just calming your mind and then trying to use your logical mind to have a wander around and see if you can solve some of your problems by allowing a little bit of divine inspiration or calm thinking to try to help you. It's like running in and touching the fire and going and trying to be calm and then rushing back out and hoping that you've learned something. I feel a bit sorry for people who and I've had people come who've been, one lady who did yoga said, I think I've yogaed everything up into my head, Victoria, and now there's nowhere for it to go. She had an RTT and she's travelling all over the world now, yogaing all over the world. Just amazing. On the screen all the time. Hi, Polly. So, running in and touching the fire with nobody to help you is meditation, really. Having RTT, you go into meditative state, and then you have me, your witness, and your good Samaritan, your person to write down the bits of stuff you see. And it's not about having to tell me about your problems or your life, because it's just stuff like, I've got lost in the supermarket and I'm crying and I'm frightened. And then, oh, here comes my mother, and she's really angry now and has slapped my legs and told me never to run away again. And as a child, you would expect that if you got lost, when your mum found you, she'd say, "Oh my goodness, are you all right?" And that's what they always think must have happened. And they've put away this memory where the mum's gone, "Don't you have it?" And that's why they've got a fear of getting lost. My daughter had a terrible fear of getting lost in the car, and there were a scene, obviously, a bit like the supermarket situation. And that was what was. And if you've got a fear of getting lost ingrained in you, because you think you're going to get into trouble and your leg slapped, and you've binned off the memory, so you don't even know that, you don't even know anything to do with it. If that's what you've got, you'll keep getting lost time and time and time again. And time and time, or putting your key, always losing your keys. And it's your mind saying, please remember about that time in the supermarket, because if you do, we'll be able to go walking on our own in Tenerife, or we'll be able to go drive down to Norfolk and look at that caravan that's for sale, or your mind is, oh, you've lost something again. Please remember about, you say. And so when people have it at RTT, they sit there and they go, oh my God, that it's so obvious the amount of times it's like the problem's been chasing you. And it's almost then, for some people, a little bit laughable that's what's, and it's just about polishing the scratch out of the record. The record of your life plays a lovely tune until you get a looking great scratch in it, and then you just keep going round in a circle back to the scratch, and then it jumps, and the music sounds terrible, and you're not quite in line. And the more times that happens, the more confidence you lose in life. But don't worry, if you're in your 60s or 70s and you think they couldn't sort me out, I've got too many problems. Not true. The bigger the pile of problems, the easier it is to just push all the lot over. Don't have to do much looking. When there's so much problems piled on top, it's obvious where to go looking.
Yes, it's like you read my mind. I wanted to say about the key, and after that you mentioned about being lost in a supermarket. I've been lost in the supermarket. In with my mom lost me, and now I can't find the key when I'm going out.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Because if the key's missing, you can't go out, so you can't get lost. You see how that works? And the man even sang, didn't he? Where's my keys or where's my phone? And the whole country was singing, where's my keys, where's my phone with him. And that's why it's an easy thing for the mind to create. If she can't find a key, she can't go out, she can't get lost. And yeah, I'm not saying you never go out, because you're always going to find the keys, aren't you, eventually? Yeah. But this is the reason why you're losing things. It's a protection racket. Like there's someone running around in your mind, saying £5 or else, and that's what it's doing. It's a little protection racket that's just costing you your time and your life looking for stuff. Whereas the moment you come for RTT, realise that getting lost in the supermarket and another couple of things that happened, look and think, oh, that's what's caused me to always be, and then you start laughing and think, oh, that's what's caused it. And then your mind just gets rid of a whole host of things. It just offloads it all in one go. And then the confidence comes like that, doesn't it? When the problem, like you rang me and you having, things were going to go one way, and then you came here and then they promptly went the other way, didn't they? And you were like, oh, this is okay. And I've got it. The massive confidence that causes to go from in the mire to sitting pretty, just like that. The amount of confidence that causes in you, even though you've still got your life to sort out, it sort of buoys you up enough to just start to move things out of the way, doesn't it? And where you were when you rang me, to think that we're sitting here doing this now, it's actually slightly strange, isn't it?
Yes, and
to think that you can go from there to there like that.
Yes,
it's bloody brilliant. Everybody should have it. That's what it is.
Yes, the thing is, when I called you, I've been calling different hypnotherapists. I didn't check for an RTT hypnotherapist because I didn't know the difference. I was looking for a hypnotherapist, and every therapist which I called, they've been asking me kind of to see a brief what was my situation, and two of them didn't want kind of to take my case.
Yeah.
Because they I'm not sure exactly what was the rules and why they couldn't.
Yeah.
Another one, I felt that he was more of a coach than
yeah.
He was going into that coaching vibe.
Yeah.
And when I called you, uh, I was thinking in my brain, my issue was the worst. I think everyone thinks if they have a trauma, their trauma is the worst. No one can have a trauma as big as them.
Yeah.
My problem was the same. I had two psychotic events, and I was thinking, it's the worst. No one can heal me. And when I called you, kind of from, I think we had the chat 10 minutes, I felt that you can deal with my.
Yes.
Because you put me some questions about when I've been young, 3 years, and give me kind of, you asked me from about my brother in first home of parents, brothers, and I felt that you can deal with that, and you mentioned you had some similar experiences with me, and I felt that connection that I need to come to you.
Yeah.
Why the question now is a person who thinks their trauma, their problems is the biggest in the world. How? Why should they do hypnotherapy or?
Because it's the only way to get to the answer. If you get to a point where you're having psychosis, or you're having epileptic seizures, or blackouts, or bipolar, or things that are classed as serious labels, it's just because you've been dealing with it for so long. You don't know what you're dealing with because it's things from when you were 5. So it doesn't really matter anyway, does it? You know, you've had it done, you know. But you've been dealing with avoiding it, or living situations that's a bit similar. You know, if you have a trauma when you're in a car when you're a child, look at how many times you've got in a car since. How many times have I re-traumatized myself? Well, there's always there's always a call back to it. So you know, at nearly every day of your life. So you've been dealing with avoiding the problem or soothing the problem for so many years that's where a person's brain has got to. It's got to the point where now it's having a psychotic episode. The poor brain, if you took it out and looked at it, it'd be saying, "Help me!" You know, it's where the brain has got to. A lot of people come here who've had epilepsy. My sister had epilepsy, so it's one of the things they tell you as a hypnotherapist not to work with people who are epileptic. I assume in case they have an epileptic seizure, but been present for lots of those with my sister Adele throughout, from her being 21 onwards to 50 odd. If the brain has got to the point, if your brain has got to the point where you got psychosis or epilepsy or something similar, it's just the length of time you've been putting up with the problem that's then got chronic. And often people will have seizures as a child for a while because something traumatic happens, and then they'll stop having them, and then suddenly later in life they'll return. It's like I had like a twitch in my neck when I was in my early teens, and later on in life it came back. When things want to be addressed and healed, they come back. But until you have hypnosis, you often don't remember that you had them before. You had them when you were 14. You know, you had a really bad skin irritation suddenly appear in your 30s, and you don't remember how many times your mum put cream on that when you were 3. And it might rear its head again when your mum passes away or becomes poorly. And your mind is just asking you to remember that time. That's all it is. That's all it is. A little trip down memory lane to find the correct codes to give your brain so that it can just take a breath and relax. and you came here in not a relaxed state, and
No.
after you went away from here, you've got to the, yeah, it was different, wasn't it?
Yes.
You listen to your recording. If you were in a kerfuddle, I would think a little bit, and over time, yeah, life just nice again,
Yes.
nice again.
Yes, even if I've done meditation before, when I had first session, I've been kind of, my body was
Yeah, tense.
tense.
Because in meditation, there's no one to help you. That's really what you were asking, isn't it? There's no one to help you,
Yeah.
is there? So you just touch the fire and back out. Whereas with hypnosis, yeah, I know how to get past the firewall so that we can look at the bits of film that your mind chopped out. That's all I do. It's not really me. My clients heal themselves. All I'm doing, I've got the key for the door that's got the missing bits in. And when your mind goes, oh no, we don't look at those, I say, yeah, we do. And then your mind looks, doesn't it? And how was that for you when your mind had to look at what it was?
Yes, was a relief after
A relief.
after we and was in the meditation to do the connection, because I've told you I felt on my skin. I've done meditation for 2 years, I think, daily, and I ended up into a point where it was black and no way to go further. And when I come to you and I've done the RTT, you ended up in that the same point through the meditation, but I had the answer that I've been swallowed in when I've been
Swaddled.
swaddled
Yeah,
when I've been
that was your thing, wasn't it?
yes, was my thing when and was the same, but you managed kind of to take off that swaddle and make me able to walk again. Even I was walking, but my mind couldn't go. Or
your mind was basically swaddled, wasn't it?
Yes, was swaddled.
Yeah.
And I could feel that during the therapy, and you managed, and it was good. You've been there, and
because when you felt what it felt like to be swaddled as a baby, when you ended up in that, because I don't tell your mind where to go. We just say, show me what made me scared, and that's one of the things, wasn't it? Being swaddled, which apparently in Romania, is it? They do all the time.
Yes, was a trend.
But a trend. Yeah, I think I was probably swaddled. My mother definitely showed me how to swaddle my daughter. But you said, didn't you, that your mum felt quite unsure as she was doing it.
Felt her emotions.
So you felt her emotions, which is the thing. As a child, you're feeling your mother's emotions, not your own, really. So if she's suffering manic depression at 40 and you're 5, you're manic depressed because you're just feeling her. But you knew that, didn't you? If somebody swaddles you thinking, oh, that she'll love this and it's really good for her and they do it really confidently, maybe those swaddled babies don't feel too bad. We don't know, do we?
Yes.
Because your swaddled experience was that your mum was like, oh, I'm not sure about this. And then your panic at being like that all night was rising to the point of like blind panic is what it was, wasn't it? It was blind, wasn't it? Blind panic. And you said at the time, although you could feel that, what did you say about?
I can't move my legs and hands.
Yeah.
Because even I've been in a hypnotherapy state and I was not moving. And in fact, you could move, but during the hypnotherapy session, we can't open our eyes and we can't move, but we are wide aware of what's happening around us. And you kind of took off my covers. Yeah. And then they're gone. And then you physically. Yes.
And you were a bit panicky, weren't you? And I just put my hand on your arm, didn't I? And then you said earlier, well, it was all right because you were there.
Yes.
And that's the point. That's why they say no man is an island and things like that, because at some point in time, you've got to have somebody there that you can trust enough to look at the thing. And it's been swaddled. It's not some massive disaster, is it?
Yeah,
it's just a thing that your mind has been upset by when you're a child. And when you see what it is that's been driving someone to the point of being told they've got psychosis, and that's time away for your children and big medication. I mean, it's a lot to say to someone. And often the more poorly people are, the faster the faster that
Yes,
they
I
go
think
from 0 to 60. And like the gentleman who'd tried to jump off the top of a building and ended up with massive success on screen, because the more the more trapped you are, it's like
yeah, yes, just
it's like how far you pull a rubber band back. If you stretch it back really tight, like someone's situation and emotions, and the fact there's no paths to go down, when you let it go, the farther it flies. It's Einstein's opposite and equal effect. And I think that's why I've worked with so many people who have got what you would class as big labels.
yes, it's after I've done the session with you, I was realized that if I had just a bit of anxiety, not sure if the result was the same. Now I think the opposite, but I'm sure the therapy manager doesn't matter how deep is. I think another, if someone is now we all want to be millionaires or to have big dreams, and we need just to we are all okay in our life, but we need just a step to go further and meet our dreams. Can you do that in the with the when you look at the person is quite healthy, didn't have any health issue, or just wants to go further with their
Yeah,
dreams?
yeah, absolutely. It brings to mind a girl, very beautiful young black woman who came in her 30s. And I just thought at the time when she came, and she said that she'd sort of, got a nice life. She said, I've got a nice job and a nice car, and I've recently got my own house, and things are all going along quite nicely. And I said, do you want a boyfriend? And she was like, well, I don't know if I'm quite ready yet. And I just like to just feel a bit more confident. And it was her who went back to doing her dancing. I mentioned it earlier. It's funny. Um, she went back to a scene where she was just doing some dancing for her mum and her auntie, and felt a bit stiff and a bit awkward. And yeah, she just said that it just polished her life up even more, and is always often probably 3 or 4 times in maybe 5 years since I've seen her, she'll send me, if she's away on holiday, she'll often send me a little message to just say, so yeah, um, it's lovely to polish a diamond if you've already got one. That's a lovely thing. Um, but quite a lot of the people that I meet yeah, not in the best of situations.
Yes, because we are coming when it's burning.
Yeah, because the way hypnotherapy has been over the last 8 years, people tend to leave it to be the last resort. They tend to go to talking. The people who come here usually say, I've had that they've had CBT, EFT, EMDR. I had a lady who'd had the electronic shock therapy. Unfortunate for her at the time. She says having RTT is the best thing she's ever done. I get people have usually have had to go at absolutely everything before they have hypnotherapy done. It's getting more popular now for people to make it an early choice rather than going through a lot of difficulty. Because if you have talking therapy, obviously that's just you just talking about what's wrong every week, and your words make your life. So often it's just the same thing happening again the next week and not a lot of progress.
Yes, when I've done the therapy, I've done first couple therapies with my husband, and after that, I was planned to do personal one-to-one therapy, and I've asked my therapist if I can do with him because I didn't want to start again and tell what happened. I felt
Yeah,
it's
just
not
repeating
to
yourself
repeat
over and over
myself
again about what's
what,
wrong
yeah,
today. Yeah.
why I'm in that situation, and I should have 3-4 sessions to tell them why I'm in that situation.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
doesn't
like when
help.
you go to the doctors, you've got to explain it, start and explain again. And every time you explain again, you're putting that back out there for yourself in words. That's the great thing about RTT. You come in, I want your name, your age, your problem. And then we look at 3 scenes of what caused it. And they are not to do with now. They are to do with years ago. They are to do with when you were innocent. They are to do with when your mind chopped bits out and didn't show you everything. They're not to do with today. So yes, to keep going, prodding at the problem, repeating over and over all of the bad things that are happening to you. It's like you're a pickle jumping into a jar of all the bad feeling over and over again. And somebody's putting the lid on. Hypnotherapy does the opposite. We don't need to know a million things about. People like to talk, Irina. I'm not gonna lie. They like to come and tell me everything. And I say, you really don't need to tell me everything. It will work just the same.
When I came first time,
That's why men. Well, but we get it's okay. It's okay
Yeah.
if you want to talk. It's okay. I'll lend an ear for a while. But then the crux of the thing is, we need to be looking at the first 7 years of your life. We don't need to be looking at now.
Yes.
You know, do we? You knew that. You thought you needed to tell me everything.
Yes,
well, you
to
didn't.
have a picture of
The
what
picture.
happened.
I don't need a picture. I
All
in fact don't want the
details.
picture. I don't want the picture. We burned the bloody picture of what. Oh, that's Bam Bam just doing a burp. Oh, book him up, good lad. We don't want really the picture of today. We just want the headline so that we can dispose of it quickly. And then we need to be, looking at what caused it way back when.
Because we are used with therapy when they need to see the whole pictures, each detail.
Yeah.
I was thinking, how can you solve all my problem if you don't know
what they
each
are?
detail? Yes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's good you had the patience and you listened to me.
Well, that's fine. I can
Yes.
listen. Or somebody can just come and say, I say, what emotion are you experiencing too much of? Sadness or anxiety or grief or anger. I go, right, so that's the problem, emotion. And what is it you want that you can't get? And people say things like, I've had 10 interviews and I can't get a job. Yasin came and said he couldn't get a job. I don't know how many interviews I'd had. And he sent me the following day himself sat in the car with a bottle of champagne because he had indeed had an interview, got the job, had it offered on the day. Because it was something in his childhood that was making him so nervous that when he went in an interview, he just talked a load of, you know. And once he'd seen what his child self had suffered and we'd sorted it out, the very next day, he was a different man in his interview. And it's not because he's a different man. Didn't do anything like that to him, but he's the man with the fear removed.
Yes, different energy.
And when you don't have this inexplainable fear that you can't see the reason for with you in your pocket all the time, going, you're going to get it wrong. They're not going to like you. Once you've not got that with you anymore, life is very different. Life is very different. You're walking through life like a different person without the devil on your shoulder telling you that it's all going to go wrong or people don't really like you or what you've said. You know, I used to think about, before having therapy 8 years ago, I used to second guess everything I'd said when I came out of a room. I must have had an incredible memory. It's no wonder I was so tired when I had it done. You know, going through everything that had been said and then putting a negative spin on it, and then you just get down a rabbit hole of negativity. And then luckily I found therapy.
Yes, how I think there are people, how do you manage, or if there are people who can't remember their 7 years, nothing from 14 years.
What you were saying about
about
a friend of Irina's asked a few questions. People who say that they can't remember childhood.
Yes.
Yeah, probably 70% of people. I don't like statistics much, as you know, but from my experience over the last 8 years, Probably about 70% of people don't say that they don't remember the childhood. They say, "Oh, I don't remember my childhood," and it is hilarious because every single person who comes has a full range of memories, right back to times that I'm not going to get into right now because I don't. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? How much you can remember because you know how much you remember, right? Don't you? So people come a lot and say that and obviously that's because um, if you have a bad experience, a traumatic experience, a quick example would be I regressed a lad back and he said he was about 2 years old and he was standing in the room and he was terrified. And I said, what is it that's terrifying? He said, and he was saying, I can't see, I can't see. Anyway, and I know what to say to get I said, oh, you can see what's on the television and just look at the television. And he went, oh, like that. And it was the news. So he was two, big TV, and it was the news, and it was army men marching towards him. And so I just said, what country is the war in? I thought, oh, he'll be able to tell me what country is the war in. And of course, at 2 year old, he didn't. He just said, I said, where's the war? And he said, well, it's in here.
He was in the
room, in the room, because the TV was taking up all of his vision, and and he was frozen to the spot. So the trouble is then, if your mind wants to hide that memory from you in your later years, it's got to hide the carpet, the pattern on the wallpaper, those slippers, them pajamas, that hair bubble, that coffee cup that I focused on while I could see the war on the telly. I turned my face away that way. I had a twitch about turning my head. And that's because as a child, when you see something traumatic, you turn and focus somewhere else. And then my daughter had a scene where she'd focused on a flower head, and all the time later in life, she had a phobia about those flower heads and hated them. And that's because her mind connected the trauma with the sight of the flower head. So any fears or phobias that you've got are all just keys for your locks. If somebody comes and says, oh, I've got 3 phobias, one lady said to me, I've got a massive fear of pictures of big cats. I was like, why would you have? So we asked her mind, and she was 2 years old, had got lost at the car boot sale, and then she turned around and there was a blanket hung on the side of a van with a lion's head on it. And then a strange person came up behind her and switched her up off floor to take her back to her mum, but she didn't know it was. And it was all like getting kidnapped and tiger's face. And then the mind just goes, getting kidnapped, tiger's face. And then when she's 30 odd, and she's got her two gorgeous little kids with her, and she sees a picture of a tiger. And can't breathe, panic attack, doesn't know why, because she doesn't know why. But then you remove it, and then, yeah, when you look and think, oh, that's what happened. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, keys for locks, traumas are keys for locks. So if people come and they've got little phobias of, rats or whatever, it makes my job a lot easier, in actual fact. The more ones you've got, the easier it makes them. Because they're all indicators.
Yes, it's regarding trauma. Is there a comparison from the term trauma or a different term? Can be trauma, more trauma than trauma. Don't know if it makes sense because some terms doesn't have a comparison. It's kind of the maximum. I don't know if
what is there something worse than trauma?
Worse than trauma, or trauma is kind of the.
I think they use trauma as a very broad term, don't they, for people who have seen the parents fighting is a trauma. Who've just seen one parent shouting very aggressively at the other and have worried for the parent's safety. And they've been, because the point of that is, of course, when you're very small, you want to stop that from happening and you can't. And it's that freeze state of thinking, I'm small, I'm helpless. I don't know the words I need. I can't get away. I've got to stay. It might happen again. And then, yeah, that's trauma, isn't it? So your mind cuts it out. Other traumas. I had a lady come once who had, as a young child, had put away a memory of seeing another child in the street run over by an ice cream van. That's a trauma, but it's just seeing something happen to someone else. Um, I've had people who have hidden behind the sofa and fallen asleep and then woken up and the parents have been watching a violent horror movie. And because they don't want to get into trouble for not being in bed and nobody knows they're there, they've watched some of it round the corner of the sofa, frightened themselves to death, gone back behind the sofa, listened to the rest of it without seeing it. Like, finally fallen asleep, woken up cold. Mum and dad didn't know where they were. One thing leads to another. Your brain chaps that whole piece out. And then it has to cut out things related to it. When I was saying earlier about it has to cut out the carpet and then pyjamas. It has to take away the memories that could lead you to the day when. Well, that could lead us to the day when the trauma happened. So remove that. And that's why people start to say, I don't remember very much of my childhood. Because they've had to forget a whole house sometimes. And they will say, you hypnotise them, and they'll go, oh, yeah, I think it must be about 8. And then they'll go, oh my God, I forgot that we ever even lived here. And you just think, bingo, here we are. This is where the problem lies. And they're like, oh, and it's like opening a treasure trove because in there is a million happy memories of great days when you were sledging and out on your bike and and with your friends and with your grandma and that toy that you got that year that you loved so much and took everywhere with you. You'd forgotten. I had a toy, a little thing called Mitzi. I've still got one. I've still got one because I bought one off the internet.
It's like,
That was, where is she? Oh, that's why I don't know where I am. Hello, camera one. This was Mitzi. And when I got it, I thought, that ain't right. It's so small. But in my arm when I was 5, it looked as big as the dog, and I used to carry it about like that everywhere with me. And put his little thumb in.
Yes.
But I had no memories of that until after I'd had hypnosis because that was one of the things that went in the bin because it would have led me to bad trauma memories that I had that happened to me at the same time that I had that toy and it got lost, I think.
Yes, it's we have good memories. I had no idea in the second session when I've done with you, I had no idea that I enjoy going to school because my mom said always that she is not, she didn't like school. Yeah. And I think because she said that, I was thinking I don't like school. Yeah. But I had a memory when I've been really happy going to school in the morning. Yeah. And I had no idea that I'm a school person and I enjoy that. Because if your mind's going to bin off those bad memories, this people say to me so many times after they've had it, they say, oh, I've had so many good memories come back. It's like, it's for some people, not for everyone, but for some people, it's like having their whole childhood returned to them. All the happy, they'll ring me up and say they're so glad they've had so many happy memories return. And either that, some people don't. It's like you say, you've got to recognise the improvements to know they're happening. Some people ring me up after 4 years and say, I didn't admit to myself at the time, I didn't realise at the time that alcoholism was happening. But 4 years down the line, I want to call you, Victoria, and let you know that was the situation. And now that I look back, I can see that was what was happening. A lot of the time, it takes people a length of time to be able to see the big results. Because life is life, isn't it? And retrospectively, it's easier when you look back to see. Like the lady with the big cats, when's the next time she's going to see a picture of a big cat? Could be 2 years. And will she really care if it doesn't make her heart race? Probably not. But so much has changed between now and then. I saw her the other day.
on a go live. And she's, yeah, very well indeed.
Can you tell us about the emotional scale? You said.
Yeah. So it's just one of the things that your body, your skin, your body keeps the score. So you can have, if you've got aches and pains, that can lead us, again, like keys, to the things that we need to, the scenes we need to see to help you, to solve your problem. Um, uh, Emotional scale is more about knowing that anger is not wrong. You're not wrong for being angry. If you're angry, it's because you've seen it, learned it, experienced it many times. It's not wrong. If you're frustrated, it's not wrong. And if you're procrastinating, it's not wrong. You've learned it. It upsets me a little bit when I hear coaches and stuff saying about, or whoever, saying about, emotions being wrong or unwanted. Everybody's going to have to get to the stage now, in my opinion, where they just allow the feelings. And again, with hypnotherapy, it's very easy to imprint that to be so that your system's just working correctly. You get an emotion, you think, oh, I've got that feeling in my chest or in my tummy. And then you note it and you think, well, that must be about something. And then you focus on just allowing it to melt like ice cream left in the sunshine, just melting and then turning liquid and then going around like a washing machine and then filtering out of your body so that it can go out into your electrical field that you have around you that they can measure with machines and then come back round because you're supposed to be running on a circuit. And we've been taught that anger's wrong. So when we get angry, we think, oh, no, I shouldn't do that. And we grab hold of it, or at least our muscles think they are doing. And that can be chronically stuck from 5 years to 50 years when you have the hypnotherapy done. We can easily show your mind. And that's one of the great things about having hypnotherapy done that's not particularly to do with RTT. It's to do with learning that I did later on, is that about moving your energy through your body and about it getting stuck. Confusion is one that can get stuck and it can stop people from being able to see what they need to see. But once you melt and move and put your intention behind emotion moving, then you can see clearly because you can see past it because you're not focused on the pain of the muscles holding on. Your mind is clear once you've let the emotion move and then you can see what the emotion was about. You can't see what emotion was about if you're focused on the pain of the emotion and the physical pain itself. It's distraction. That's why people distract themselves by biting themselves or twanging something, or because they're trying to distract themselves from feeling the feeling. And the reason we do that is because we've been told that certain feelings are wrong and certain feelings are not wrong. All feelings are acceptable, they're all correct. And you have to move from one emotion to the next. So if you're angry, sometimes you've got to go through frustration to get to joy. If you're sad, you've sometimes got to go through hopelessness to get a little bit further. But it's got to be where all emotions are accepted and listened to. People have learned to cover it with medication. And then some people have learned to meditate and then it's ouching them and they need to take the next step. And whether you've decided to cover it up or try and approach it, you'll be failing, I would imagine, unless you get yourself, no man's an island, get yourself your RTT therapist, is what I suggest, your witness, so that you can have someone to write it down for you, take you specifically, focus in, write it down for you, let you see the connections by repeating it back to you, understanding yourself, and then being able to let all that old patterning go and just move forward like you did.
Yes, you mentioned the medication. I didn't ask you. When I came to you, I've been on a medication and was second time because I had two psychotic events. Each time I've been in the system, medical system, and being medicated because this is what they know to do and how
Yeah,
to
it's
deal
a
with
shame
it.
that that's all they know.
Yes,
But well, it isn't because they know about RTT and it's time that it was more mainstream. But
yes,
yeah,
but when I asked them that I want to do hypnotherapy, they've been they didn't, because one of the hypnotherapists which I called to do the therapy, she was asking me to have from my GP kind of a letter that I am able to do the hypnotherapy, and the GP didn't give me something like that because they don't recognize this.
all want to be responsible for it. No,
Yes,
no,
and was
that's no
I
problem.
came
I'll be
to you
responsible.
kind of um on my own, and I assume, yeah, is the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
word.
Assume is the
I
word. Yeah.
assume the work that is done. And how if a person is on the medication, how do they can come off the medication, or how do they know that they don't need that medication anymore?
Generally, I think what happens is the mind forgets to take it in the months and in the weeks and months after the visit here. The mind just forgets to take it, and then they realise they haven't taken it, and then they realise how much better they feel, and then that's that. But obviously, I can't tell people not to take the medication. That's not my decision to. I can't force them not to. I would never, but it's just it doesn't matter. It's like a lady put on yesterday about having stopped vaping. And somebody's made a comment underneath saying, "Oh, that's not how hypnotherapy works." And I was like, "Well, it quite clearly does because she's written it there." She came to me. She didn't tell me that she vaped or smoked. I don't think. Or she might have done. She might have been vaping in the chair. But I don't judge about things. People get rid of things when they're ready. My job is to remove the root cause of the worry that causes that. But she didn't say, "I want to give up vaping." She said something else. I don't know, anxiety or whatever it was. Sent me a text message that I saw her in summer. I never said anything to her about vaping. She never asked for help with it. It wasn't mentioned in a recording. Nothing. It was just a non-entity. We were concentrating on something else. And she put a post on saying that she stopped vaping and smoking a couple of months ago. She's done with it and feels great. And that's because once you remove the root cause, all of the little soothers, like vaping, smoking, pulling your hair, pulling your eyelashes, chewing your fingernails, putting a red hot water bottle on a pain that you used to have. You don't need any of these soothers because the pain's gone out of your hip and you feel like you can breathe okay, and you keep forgetting your vape and oh, you forgot to take your tablets, and then it's just because you can't heal by focusing on am I taking tablets or not. You can't lose weight by going how much do I weigh. You've got to let go of the people who want to come to me for unburdening themselves of unwanted body. We say don't say lose weight. Your mind don't like the word lose. So if you're out there and you're looking at getting slimmer, yeah, you're shedding away the unwanted. Don't use the word lose because your mind doesn't like it. It's all just and I put things like that in the recordings. The mind changes its mind. I encourage it along with some good words. And then people shrink because they've stopped focusing on how big they are. But you can't, it's like the watch pot never boils. It's like that. Do you know that in Romania? Watch pot never boils. In other words, if you stand and wait for the water to boil, it takes forever.
Yes.
But if you just go do something else within 2 seconds, it's boiling over. Yeah, it's like that. You've got to take your focus off things that you don't want. If you don't want to be fat, don't keep going on about how fat you are every day.
Yes.
Come and have RTT and learn how to speak to yourself nicely in your head. It isn't learn how to, is it? It's just flip the switch.
Yes, we have in
not
our
good.
yes.
Yeah.
You said lose. We have in our community that we want to grow because that's we want to grow, and the mind as doesn't like the lose word. We can or it's happened to our to the girls. We are most of girls there that we took weight because we want to grow. The mind doesn't know how to grow.
No, you've got to be more specific.
More specific, and we take weight instead of growing in our career as we want.
Yeah. Because if you're in a job and you say I want to grow, and then you've got a boss that's holding you back, like your father used to do or whatever, you've learned this pattern of attracting people who hold you back. So they've got a boss who's holding you back, and you're desperate to grow, and you're telling yourself, I am growing, I will grow, I will get my chance. Your body will. It'll say, if you want growth, I'll show you it. Where can I show a growth? And then your waistline expands. And then you're upset, and then you can't understand what's happening. And then, yeah. But once you have RTT, you can see where your mind is telling you the wrong thing. It's trying to solve a problem, and what it's actually done is caused another to add to the pile.
Yes. You mentioned recording. What's recording about? Because you said you listen on the recording.
Yeah. So at the end of your session,
yes,
you just had a nice little snooze in your chair, didn't you? While I just flicked back through your notes and looked at what had happened to your child self. And like there was a lady the other day who regressed back to being in a playpen with meshed sides, and she tried to climb out again, and she slid down it, and it had burned her. You know, little rubbish things like that happen. The words used for her. I actually asked a friend of mine, what would you tell a child if it had been trapped a long time in a playpen and burnt its little self and was really upset, and he found it, and he said, well, I'd just say, you've been let out. You're free now. And so as I flipped back through your notes, I just said things like that, you know, you're free now, didn't I? And you know, you you're lovable, you're enough, are things that we say to everybody. But more specific to you, there will have been things in there about um, progressing at your job, weren't there?
Yes.
And daring to do things and put yourself out there, and so you can put anything you like in your recording. People have wanted to get rid of their anxiety, so we'd say the wording necessary to achieve keeping that balanced while the brain rewires itself. You listen for 21 days because that's how long the brain takes to, your brain would take to change a neuron from I'm frightened to I'm confident. And we can put all sorts in there. One gentleman said that he'd like to improve his golf game whilst he was listening to his recording. So we put some great words in there about his golf so that it was a joy to listen to, you know. Because men don't always like to listen to a recording that says that they're lovable and but they're fine because you don't have to listen, do you, Irina? You just put it on, and by the time we get to a talk at the beginning to relax you about walking down some stairs, and usually by the time you get to about step 5 or 6, you sleep, aren't you? Because your brain just goes, oh yeah, whatever. So you don't actually have to concentrate and listen, do you? But I do put bits in for people about all sorts of things, because what you tell your mind, it will go out and try to achieve for you. If you look in the mirror every day and say that you hate yourself and you're fat, then it'll go out and achieve you being overweight and hating yourself. Yes. You know, if you tell yourself every day that you're stupid or that you can't manage, you will feel stupid, do stupid stuff by accident, and never manage. With the recording, we're not only removing the root cause in the therapy, but with the recording, we're then putting the right words in there until your brain's got itself sorted. We're literally cosseting it, soothing it, being a cheerleader, just saying, you know, you've got this, you're safe and welcome in the world. If someone's anxious, that's one of the nicest things to hear, is that you're safe in the world and the world welcomes you. You know, it's what your brain needed to hear. When someone picked that child up out of that cot, all upset that she'd been left there and burned a little hand on, you know, crying her eyes out, that's all she needed, was to be made to feel safe. And your recording just encourages you to feel safe in your life, because you are safe in your life. Shows how bad things have gotten. You'll still be in your life tomorrow when you wake up. You are safe in it. You might not feel safe, but you are. And once you tell your mind repeatedly for 21 days that you are safe, that's a great thing. Remove the root cause and soothe the brain until the rewiring is complete. anyone can look up the reasoning behind the 21 days.
Yes, and everyone will have a recording with kind of after
Yeah,
this
bespoke.
session,
Yeah,
bespoke
I make it
recording.
during the sessions
Yeah,
though, that
during the
it's
session.
different for everybody, yeah.
Yes,
Because everybody's different.
yes,
Which is why you can't coach people, because no one's life is the same as yours. It's, the coaching thing I think is pretty dead now, because I mean, you can listen to someone else. If I wanted riding lessons to ride a horse, I'd ask someone who knew how to ride a horse. But regards life coaching, someone trying to persuade you to be all right when you don't know why you're not all right is a little bit unfair. Saying you talk yourself past it through, it's not really fair. It's known now that you can go specifically in like you would with a needle to remove something. Not that I agree with any needles, but as you would with a needle, you can go specifically in and look at something. It reminds me very often of Harry Potter and when the wizard stirred the pensive, it was called. And the word pensive means sitting and thinking, doesn't it? He had a pensive, the wizard, Dumbledore, and he took memories out of his own ear, I think, with his wand, and put them in the pensive, and then looked at what had happened. Him and Harry Potter looked at what had happened in the instance that had happened way back when. To work out what to do next, to understand what had gone wrong. And that's what you're doing. You're getting three of your memories into your pensive, having a look and thinking, well, it's obvious now why that and that happened. And then everything changes from there on in.
yes, it's changing. And do you have a niche, or do you help a specific people, kind of a group of people?
Niche,
Niche, yes.
Uh,
Everyone has a niche.
Social media people have been trying to get me to choose a niche for 8 years and more. And I do specialise in something. I specialise in RTT, is what I specialise in, because RTT is a key for multiple locks. It's a skeleton key, isn't it? I do not claim to fix or cure anyone from anything. People come here who have epilepsy and then they go away and they never have another seizure. Many of them. A lot of them talk on my page about it. Gabby is one of them. People come here with all sorts of things and go away without them, but it's not because I'm a specialist about their problem. Because you could take the same child who got lost in the supermarket. You could take 10 children who all got lost in the supermarket and they'd all have a different tree of problems that had grown from that day getting lost, depending on so many things. How confident they were before, how old they were exactly, how the mother reacted when she came to them, if the other people noticed that they were lost, didn't notice they were lost, if they were crying, if they weren't crying. Different, same situation, person, lots of different problems. By the same token, you can take 10 people who have got a terrible skin condition like eczema. I had one lady, people might remember seeing the pictures of her hands, Alana Spink. She'd been going to the hospital for years with her hands in a really serious state. You could take 10 people with a condition on the skin like that, and every single one of them would be a completely different reason as to why they ended up with that skin complaint. So everybody's so individual. Um, if I niched, if I niched on a problem that people are having, it just doesn't seem to have any reason behind it to me. I'd be better off if I was going to niche, probably niching on a certain childhood set of experiences, like saying I only help people who grew up in farming the same way I did, because they will have similar experiences and triggers, like feeding a cow and giving it a name when you're 7. Do you want to put some corn in there? Oh yeah, I've called this one chocolate. Have you? Have you, love? Yes, I have, Dad. And then it being on your dinner plate, um, the following few months later, it being on your dinner plate. And having older brothers that say, oh, I wonder which of your pets you're eating, you know, I wonder which one it is. And then you're trying to swallow the meat down. I still eat meat. I didn't for a while, and now I do again. And that's all been connected into how I felt about that. So if I was going to niche, it'd probably be with, you know, horsey people or people who grew up in farming or people who grew up in rural villages, people who experienced abuse at school, possibly. But you'd want to niche with the childhood situation, I think, more than anything. Certainly would be no point in niching in an adult problem, because all the people you'd get would all be completely different anyway, because they've all arrived there by a different.
Yes, different.
You get me? Yeah, by different route. That's why there's only you who can heal you, because you're unique, completely unique. That's why I don't heal you, because you're you and I'm me. But I've just got a key, a skeleton key, that can lead you into the bits that you turn a blind eye to, as you well know, because you've had it done, and then everything makes sense. And then you understand yourself, and then you know you haven't done anything wrong. Oh, that's the kicker, isn't it? Of knowing, oh my God, all this time I thought, oh crap, it wasn't me. Because it's never you that's done anything wrong, you know. Even if you've done stuff wrong in your life, after that, we're all born perfect and beautiful, and there are things that happen in life that screw us up, basically, and make us feel bad. We just need to learn when we learn to feel bad.
Yes, if a person has had trauma and suffered a lot, many years, if they come to you, are they going to suffer more? Maybe they are scared to come because I've been suffering 10 years and I don't want to go there and open everything and suffer more, or have the same feeling, sensation that I need to go through the.
We are in a great position to answer that. You said it was blind panic when you were swaddled, and I put my hand on your arm, and then from blind panic to
yes, I've been
realizing that you were in a room with me. Yeah, and the balance between the knowing I'm safe and looking at the awful thing, just people cry tears, but don't particularly feel. You said you did feel a bit of your blind panic in your swaddling scene, didn't you? But it soon just balances itself out. It's only a few seconds, because you have to feel the feelings of the when you were swaddled to understand when you felt them at, how old are you?
14 now.
40.
40.
So you've got to feel the feelings of how I felt when I was swaddled to recognise when I felt them when I was 40. And when you did that, when you looked and thought, oh, the blind panic thing, when else had you felt it in life? When you felt that feeling and I went, steady, they've wrapped me up, you know, I swaddled. When else in your life did you feel that? Can you think of another time? When you had your psychosis, was it a similar feeling?
Yes.
So without dipping into the feeling, just for a second or two of the swaddled feeling, you can't connect it to what you want rid of. And what you wanted rid of was that blind panic of the problem that they had labelled. I aren't labelling anything for anybody. As far as I'm concerned, there are no labels. There are minds at different levels of panic that have held on to problems for different lengths of time. And some of it is like actual physical hurt. Like for me, was physical sexual abuse when I was a toddler, pain and panic and complete lack of understanding. Obviously, because when you're two, you don't know what any of that is or what any of it's for. And they asking for help, and then people thinking panic, sweep that under the carpet, pretend that didn't happen, and then just being left as a child just in desolation, you know. And then some of my other scenes were like the 4-minute warning of they used to say when I was a child, and I was born in 1974. Hiya, do one. So if you're from my era, you'll know. Apparently, though, it went on for many, many years. So probably 10 years at least either side of that date and more. They used to say that there was a button that some people in a foreign country, I think it was Russia, could press, and that everything would disappear and would be left in desolation and would all turn to ash. And they actually put a what do they call it? A government
Advertising,
advertisement thing, yeah, yeah, for the good of the public. They actually showed us as all turned to ash in a flash of white, and everybody was terrified, And later on, you forget about it in life, and I'd completely forgotten about the 4 minute warning. And as soon as I knew about that, I knew all the reasons why I was so um, panicked at being separated from people in my past, because my mum and dad would go to the pub on a Saturday night, and as soon as I got back, I thought, yeah, I could hear him saying to me, "Don't you worry, I can make it back from the pub in our Capri." Pickery, you used to call it, to make me laugh. That Pickery, will have me back here in less than 4 minutes. Because the deal was up in Barrick, if they rung the bell for the 4 minute warning, the adults were all buying into it. It's not. And if the adults buy into it as a child, people say, "Oh yeah, no, I don't think I were bothered about that." You were. The parents were terrified. My dad wasn't really terrified because he didn't do terrified. He did reassurance. And he said the car was fast and he'd be able to get back from the pub within the 4 minutes to be with me so we could turn to ash together if that's what were going to happen. He didn't say about turning to ash, but that's what was in my head. He said, "Don't worry, if they ring the bell, I can get back. The car's fast." We were all in terror about it, and then you'd go out and your mind would snip it out for you, and then they regress you back as an adult, and you think, "Wow, I'd forgotten all about the 4 minute warning." And then I was talking to an elderly man in the pub, and he went, "Oh yes, they had the bell in here, and if they rang the bell, we all had to go in the cellar." And that's when I said, "My dad wanted, we're going to get him Capri and drive home right fast to be with us." I mean, how are you as a little 6 year old after your Saturday night bath, sat in your slippers? If that's what you think might happen when your mum and dad, and how many times do you think I tried to calculate how long 4 minutes was?
Yes, because
And then I was counting in my head going up and downstairs, counting the steps. And I thought after that therapy, I thought, that's one of the things, because you don't address everything, obviously, do you? And that's one of the things I thought in the 21 days. I thought, wonder why I count going up and downstairs and leave other people in the room downstairs. I count, and I sometimes count as I'm having a wee in my bed, then I count back down, and my mind's counting. And that's
I
what
count the steps as well.
when when I can't see my loved ones, I'm counting. And that's why, because my child self was looking for the 4 minutes. And at 5 and 6 year old, you don't know how long 4 minutes is. Could be that long. Because you don't know. You have no reference at that age. And so then your mind can get very upset and form things like dyslexia or dyspraxia or not being able to tell the time because of these things. And the other day, someone very special to me said about the bin something to do with it was looking like war with Russia, and I just think, wow, still are they saying?
Yes,
Because it never happened.
Yes, but
It never happened then, and it's not going to happen now. And the negative suggestion and watching the news and things is detrimental to people's health. Yeah, switch off TVs, get outside, take your shoes off, and connect your bare feet to the grass, because you're an electrical being that's giving out 7.83 hertz or running at 7.83 hertz and discharging a couple at a 0.2 or something, is it? I don't know, something like that. But you're an electrical being. And if you wear rubber soles and wear shoes all the time,
yes, we can't.
You will be frizzly because you're not discharging your energy, yeah. So get out in nature, take your shoes off and put your feet on your garden, even if it's only for a minute as you're drinking your cup of tea on a morning. Salt baths are very good. Again, encouraging connection. You did that at school. If you needed to make the electric go through the water, you added salt to it, didn't you? So yeah, adding salt to your water and looking after yourself well. But yeah, people get to the stage where they're not looking after themselves at all, not getting
Yes,
dressed, not getting a shower, not going out,
I forgot to eat. We forgot to eat and
forgetting to
drink
eat. Yeah.
and drink.
Um, and it seems very difficult sometimes to make yourself look after yourself. But again, that's all programming. That's all programming about being upset as a child and what you thought you deserved, or getting put to bed with no tea, or someone not cuddling you when you need it, and feeling that you're not worth looking after or not worth cuddling, or someone's left you in the playpen, and you know, all of these things all go into um, whether or not you look after yourself as an adult. And having the therapy again just make sure that you're
Yes,
looking after yourself, doesn't it?
yes, it's a good start. Where the people can find you if someone wants to find you and to do a session, which is the best place to?
So at the moment, on my Facebook page, House of RTT, currently having a new website built. A lovely lady by the name of Amy Swift Blampett, who is like a godsend to me currently, is building me a new website. We are also, she's looking at building me a new Facebook page because I've had some hacking problems. If anyone out there has tried to contact me and feels like they've been not received an answer, or being given an answer saying that they can't be seen or anything like that, I don't turn anyone away. I at least have a telephone conversation with everyone. So if you've tried to contact me and not had a response, or had a response that didn't invite you to a telephone conversation, that's to do with interference on the page, which sometimes happens. So we're building a new page right now. And we're thinking of it, also about maybe having a new name for the new page. What sorts of things were we thinking? Memory lane, um, mind code,
Go.
heal and go, heal and
You
go.
like this one?
Quite like the sound of heal and go, didn't I?
Yes.
So there will be a new page to look at. At the moment, House of RTT on Facebook. My telephone number is on there. I can also put my telephone number in the links. I'm quite happy for you to just send me a text or WhatsApp. I'm having a new email address, which will also be made public in the next, I don't know how many days, but within days, we would hope, depending on how busy Amy is. Yeah, and phoning and having a consultation is free, no obligation. There's no pushy sales off me, because I know that if you've been attracted to me, it's for a reason. Because that's how this works. It's not about, for me anyway, it's about putting my face on here, you guys seeing me, hi there, and thinking there's something about her that makes me know that that's my next logical step. Because everyone who comes here says that everybody should have it done. That's what everybody says, isn't it?
Yes.
Everybody should sit in your chair, Victoria, and I think, yeah, they should. I sat in it, and my life was in a very different place to what it's in now. I greatly thank RTT for saving me from a coercively controlling relationship. Uh,
Yeah. How many sessions should a person have?
well, I just had the one.
One?
You had two, didn't you?
I had two, yes, because I wanted
Well,
to
if you're
discover
taking
more.
medications and things like that, or if you've come with a big label, you might need two. If you come with a culmination of issues, you might need two. But generally, one session is for over 90% of my clients. One session is enough, because it doesn't matter how much we show your brain in that day. It's nice if it gets through all of it, and you only need one session, and it just slots everything in. But over the 21 days of listening to the recording, it's doing bits more while you're asleep. It's doing bits more, filtering things in. And usually most people feel immediately, they say that they feel different. I'm not going to say the word that nearly everybody says. They say they feel different, better, different.
Yes.
But most people use a certain word, and I'm not saying it because I want to know do you know what I mean? Because probably 80% of people say the same thing. So immediate difference, but then certainly your mind is still working for you over them 21 days. If you need anything else, if something's outstanding, if something slips and goes a little bit back to how it was, if anxiety returns a bit or something, some people 3 months down the line might want to bob back for a second session. And they always say afterwards, well, yeah, obviously I wasn't ready to look at that little bit. Obviously I needed to organise my life a bit before I let myself in on the fact that I don't think this job's for me, or don't think this person's for me, or, you know, and they'll see why the mind has looked at that first, so they could sort that out to then bob back and have a look at that. But the second session is lower in cost anyway. It's just over half the price of an original session. For anybody who wants to know what I charge, currently I charge £500 for a session and £280 for the second session. It's the price of well, not even an expensive handbag, is it? Sometimes people will say to me, oh, it's more than I thought. And I can understand that, because a normal hypnotherapy session where they were just making suggestions over the top of the problem, you might have to go for 6 sessions to some people. So 50 or £70 a session, might say. And then I say 500 and people say, oh, but this is how much would it be worth to you to to not be in the situation you're in?
Yes,
What would it have been worth to you if I'd said to you, if you'd had, if you'd had fun? Well, I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to put it, because depending on what people earn, £500 is a different thing to different people, isn't it? To some people it might not seem like very much, and to others it might seem like a lot.
But I had therapy for a year, and I ended up to have the second psychotic event.
Oh,
and
that money very well spent.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Yes.
And how much did that cost you to have a year's worth of therapy to then have the same thing happen again?
It was free therapy through NHS, but didn't work. And firstly, I thought it was expensive when you told me the price.
Yeah.
But after the session, the time spent with you and the outcome, I realized that wasn't expensive at all.
Yeah.
And if I needed to have normal therapy for another, I told you I called different therapists and different person, and everyone said 7-10 sessions. 7 to 10 sessions. Yes, was if for a normal therapy. For hypnotherapy was different price. Was a lower price, but I didn't feel that connection as I felt with you. Yeah. And that's why I choose, even if it was more expensive, I choose you. Yeah. Because I felt that you can right. Tell, can't yes, you? A lot of times people just say, I saw you and I just knew. Yes, I had the chat through the phone and I knew. I told my husband, kind of, I had that feeling when I told him, he pushed me to go. Yeah. Because he felt as well that I need to do this. He could tell by by my demeanor that you found that my voice was different when I told him. Yeah. Yes, and, yeah. You can hear in my voice that I know that I know that I can help you with that, because obviously, it ain't obvious at all, is it? But suffering abuse as a small child often leads to psychosis in later years. I've experienced times where things have gone very wrong before I'd had hypnotherapy, where I think if someone if I'd have spoken to a medical person, they might have tried to tell me the same thing. But reaching a point where you're having blind panic because life has thrown a curveball is not illegal. Being angry is not illegal. Being frustrated is not. All of those feelings are all, you experience them for a reason, and they're not wrong. And you've experienced them when you were knee-high to a grasshopper, and that's where the issue has come from, as you found out. So to give somebody a big label and tell them that they're very ill or nothing can be done from them, that makes me angry. Yes. Then I have to sort myself out. Even the label was kind of changed. They weren't kind of with this mental health issue. You can't label them. In my opinion, you can't label them. It's
No, they
just
should be
something.
labelled. It's just the mind at different levels of crisis, and either you're amazing and you get through different crisis and you bring yourself back, or you have a few tablets for a while, or you medicate yourself with alcohol for a while, or whatever people do, and they get back. You know, hats off to them. I admire them for sometimes people come and they've had several breakdowns or breakthroughs or whatever you want to call it. Sorry, Pippi, do you want to go out? And they've had several episodes of being very poorly, mentally or physically or both. And I absolutely take my hats off to them that they've managed to, you know, come back time and time again from the brink of whatever that is. Because obviously some people don't make it back. The suicide rate is, I don't even want to,
Yes.
Everybody knows what it is without me putting any labels on it, because I'm one of the people who's going to change that. There are thousands of therapists trained to do the same thing as me now. Marissa Peer has trained thousands of therapists, and we're going to change. We're going to change things like the suicide rate, because there is no need to keep going round in a circle anymore, because now you can have your answer and stop the vicious circle instead of surviving for a while and then going back and having another nervous breakdown, or having another serious illness, or having another organ removed, or another tooth removed, or another round of talking therapy, instead of going round and round. Simple.
Yes, what the person needs to prepare to come to you, if they need to prepare something, to do some homework? As
little as possible, because the less you focus on what's wrong, the better it's gonna be for you, and the swifter things are gonna move along. I used to be a funeral celebrant minister, and I always used to say, they used to say, oh, what do we need to prepare before you come? And I used to say, don't prepare anything, because the bits of the person's life and everything, it'll all just come out over a cup of tea, all natural and all. But if you try and sit down and write it, it's going to sound, 1, a bit wooden, 2, a bit forced, 3, a bit edited. Just don't prepare anything. When I get there, we'll have a cup of tea, which is normally what I do with my clients here, and we'll just have a little chat. And the most important thing is on the day, because some people book in a month before they come. Most people, I tend to see people quite fast after. Most people ring and say, I need help now, you know. So, and because I only see people once, it's fairly easy to slot people in a fairly timely fashion. But sometimes people will book a month before they come, or 2 months before they come. One lady who was coming from America for a while, she booked 5 months before she came. But imagine how much changes in a month.
Yes, I felt
in a person's life.
Yes.
You know, if you book it, there's no point writing down everything that's wrong in April if you're not coming to see me, because all you're doing is a prescription, a prescript of your life. You're writing down all of this negative stuff, and then you're going to keep that then, the paper and the problem, till you see me the following month. So I would say the same as I did when I was a funeral minister. Don't write anything down, don't prepare anything. Just, this is what life is about. Be in the moment and go with the flow. Book the appointment, come along, and what's the universe, bless it, the powers that be, may send you the most amazing thing just the day before.
Yes.
That makes you think, oh my God, I nearly had my whole session around that, and I've realised, because that's happened, that actually the problem is this, and life will narrow it down for you in the days or weeks of you coming, because you've set the intention to do something about it. I spoke to one lady, granted she was in a wheelchair, she had functional neurological disorder, and she was a big lady. Because I have no disabled facility here, although it can be arranged, we met somewhere else to have a consultation, and it was a week, 10 days before she could actually get to me for the treatment. And after I told her about how it works, and after she told me a little bit about abuse in her childhood, because we have that in common, she told me a little bit about that. I told her how it works. She could see in my eyes that I knew what I was on about. She could hear from my words that she knew it was going to get cleared up. She lost a stone in weight between having the conversation and knowing she was going to get fixed to come in for the first session. Didn't do any hypnosis the first time at all. Just chatted to her about why it works and told her that it would work for her. And she lost a stone in that first week. So as soon as you set the intention, book the appointment, things might go dreadfully wrong, but it's to show you that it's to show you something to make your journey faster.
Yes, for
Because
sure.
your brain loves it. Yeah.
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 Was fast since we had the chat and
yeah.
did the first session.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to bark for us now.
Yes, I think I don't have any questions. Just if you have question for me.
Do you want to go as well? If I have questions for you. Well, that's an interesting question. What do you think it would have been worth to you if you'd have known for a fact that it would work the way it has? What was it worth in your life to find it and have it when you were in the place where you were?
I think if I knew I've done the session faster, kind of after my first psychotic event, and yes, that was one. And what stopped me even after the first and second my event was that I needed time to find. I needed to do the step and in finding you. Because my husband was looking for therapists and hypnotherapists, and I kind of stay apart until I took that decision. Is not what that I'm thinking, that I took that decision and starting to look after.
Because no one can do it for you.
No
you have to get people's mums ringing, and it's fine, and they're coming out of it. But realistically, you do have to take that step for yourself.
I take that step because I realized I had 6 months off work, and I needed to do something. Coming back to work, staying in that same situation, and I realized that it's now was second time and nothing changed in 6 months staying home. My state was kind of worse than before.
Yeah.
And yes, I took the step, and I've noticed improvement after the session. I've started to speak with everyone and tell everyone what I've done. Was even if I had person with I didn't discuss often, I started to tell everyone. It was kind of
It's a great thing. Especially if you're a person where people are always bringing the problems to you, you can just say, "Oh well, look, I know how you do it, and you don't want to hear all of your problems again." Some people have guys who visit him on a weekly basis to offload, and I'm like, no, that's not good for you. Give them the number and tell them either stop talking about your problems or do something about them, but don't keep bringing your barrel full of shit here every week to discuss with me and make me feel bad. Yeah. And it makes you not scared to talk to people, doesn't it? And
yes, I speak
Yeah.
freely. I started to take actions.
So psychosis gone.
Yes,
Happy you.
Yes,
Plus, and it's not just being about removing that label or stopping your mind going into it, because it wasn't a label of any description or psychosis or anything, because there is no such thing as far as I'm concerned. The level of crisis your mind had reached was immediately soothed, and it wasn't just about that. When you go to the doctor and ask them to solve a problem for you, they might do. They don't, on top of that, give you the confidence to speak to other people and all the other things that will have Your relationship with your son changed a little bit, I think,
Yes,
didn't it?
yes, changed.
Relationship with your husband has certainly changed.
Yes.
His attitude has changed. You've different things about your job. It's fed into your life in a positive way all over. I was called upon to solve the blind panic problem and stop you from having to, go to hospital or do whatever. But RTT doesn't just solve the problem; it gives an array of free gifts with it. Because this isn't about finding a problem and focusing on a problem. It's about fixing a problem and focusing on everything you can do now you haven't got it. If you go to a doctor, they'll find the problem, label the problem, focus on the problem, give a pill for the problem, ask about the problem. Is the problem any better? Have you still got the problem? I'll make you another appointment about the problem. Can I give you a different pill for the problem? Has it gone? Do you want a cream? Hypnotherapy. Do you want to increase?
Yes, that's the.
We're sorry you know better. Hypnotherapy is about finding the problem, finding the reason for the problem so the problem can go away, and then looking at everything in your life you can now do now that you don't have the problem anymore. And that's why it works, because instead of focusing on what's wrong, you're removing what's wrong quickly and efficiently. And then you're distracting yourself with all the things you can do now. It's gone. That it's been stopping you doing. But NHS or medical couldn't do that for you because they're not getting rid of the problem in the first place. You can't face your life and think, oh, I've got rid of the problem for me. I'll see what I can do now because the problem's still there and they're swapping the cream and upping the tablets.
Yes,
a lot of the time. So you can't do that moving on. There is no reward. You're just stuck in a no reward. The reward with coming here is exponential, life changing in every aspect as you get going down the road with it, isn't it? Absolutely,
Yes.
1,000%.
Yes, when I've been to tell you a story, when I've been to nurse to blood test and things like that, routine check, and she saw me. She said a phrase that yes, but you can fake that you are so good, and because I've been okay, I had nothing, I've been happy.
No.
And
I'm sorry that I'm sorry that it's a bit of a problem to go back and tell them that actually
yes,
it's fine. I know.
But the thing is, what you are doing, you and what NHS are not doing, it's they need to be in their system to earn money because they earn money
Yes.
on our pills. Now they have minus one
minus one
minus
person
one
to
person
drag money out of the pot
yes.
for. Quite rightly. Which is why it would be nice to be able to say, that you've paid in your NHS, your national insurance contribution, and that you would like money out to have hypnotherapy or RTT. I think that's the way forward. But how long that will take, it hopefully won't be long. But we don't fully know, do we?
Yeah.
But being able to solve the problem and move on instead of focus on the problem and medicate it, or try and push it away, that was never going to do. It was never going to be a success, and it's only gone on so long. What's happening with medication now, I think, is going to become quite. The people are going to realise that the dangers of.
Yes, I had a bit of awareness about medication and I wasn't happy. That's why I'm trying to do my best to stop medication as soon as possible because I knew it's not good for the whole body system. And what the medication for mental health issue is to keep you on the line.
Yes.
As you said, anger is
never fix you.
Yes,
keep you on the line.
On the line, and anger, as you said, anger is okay. Being happy is okay. Why? I want to feel all range of emotions, even if I'm too high or too low. I want to feel them and not to stay on the line and all days to be the same.
All days to be the same.
Yes, being the same.
You get a lot of people who come and they'll say that they put them on antidepressants however many years ago, and they'll say, that they haven't cried for 5 years and that they just want to be able to, you think, oh, I'm sick of crying and have an antidepressant, and then 5 years down the line and then where have all the tears gone? The body has wept somewhere else.
Yes,
they've had a leaky big toe or something like that for the last 3 years, and that's because if you don't release your emotions and release your tears, you know, your body will weep in a different area. Like a pressure cooker, it has to come out somewhere. In bouts of anger or in a skin issue or migraines or fuzzy vision or going deaf or, if you ignore a problem or a problem person for long enough, you're going to start to not be able to hear them properly. Your mind and your body's quite capable of turning down the hearing. We've had enough of that. And then they sound deaf and deaf and deaf and keep telling themselves to deaf as well. And then the next minute, deaf. Tell yourself a better story. Is the whole idea. And when all of the stuff that makes you feel less than is in the way, you can't tell yourself a nice story. You try, but you can't. Turn into a horror story or negative inner voice. But if you remove the cause of not feeling worthy, you can tell yourself a better story. And then nice things happen. Better people come to your life. It starts to get exciting. You make a change somewhere, or something changes for you somewhere that I've had times where things have changed for me, and I thought I don't want that change. I don't want that to happen. But then a whole rush of stuff from if I have maybe a relationship issue, then a whole rush of stuff will come about my job, or I'll be fed up because I haven't got very many clients just there. But then a big rush of things to do with the house or the horse or my daughter. And then I think to myself, oh gosh, it's a good job I wasn't too busy this week. I wouldn't have been able to go with her to that thing, And then you look back and think, yeah, there I was thinking, oh, getting all like, oh, and then you get to the day and you were thoroughly needed somewhere else. It's about relaxing into life, going with the flow and living in the moment, because that's what brings dividends. And anxiety is about worrying about the future, and regret is about worrying about the past. And the mind bounces in between the two, apart from when it's been numbed and distracted by scrolling or watching TV. And one more thing I'd like to say before we wrap up, probably we should.
Yes.
One of the things I'd like to do some free stuff for people. We think we'd like to open some Zoom screens and do a free treatment for the first. How many screens can we have?
I think 100.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
It's much.
We could say for the first 20 applicants, perhaps.
Yes, when the session is
screens and see how we go.
Yes.
Then we can do 100 screens after that, because a very good client of mine who runs Britfest has arranged for me to hypnotise hundreds of people at a time at Britfest next year in the silent disco. So best be getting some practice in, dealing with a few hundred at a time. So we'll start with 20 groups, 20 Zoom screens. So I'd like to do some free stuff. And the first thing you'll hear when I start to talk about hypnosis is me request you to roll your eyes up in your head. Like you used to do as a child when your parents got on your nerves and you used to go, and they used to say, don't you roll your eyes at me. Well, they took away one of your powers of calming yourself there. If you roll your eyes up as if you were doing roll your eyes up, take 3 deep breaths, and then keep looking up, but start to drag your eyelids down and make your eyelashes bounce, and then close your eyes down. So that's the first thing that I ask you to do when I hypnotise you, isn't it?
Yes.
Is to roll your eyes up like you would if you were fed up with your parents, and take those long, deep breaths.
To be fair.
Was it uncomfortable?
Yes.
It was for me, because I have a scar over my eye, so it was uncomfortable for me at first. So you can give it a go at home, guys. It's only a suggestion. It's not, if I can't roll my eyes up, you can't hypnotise me. It's not that. Everybody can have a relaxed state. There's no such thing as someone who can't be hypnotised. There's a person who refuses to sit down and let you have a go, but there's no such thing as someone who can't be. Because it's not getting under anything or going to sleep. You're staying awake but very relaxed. So I would ask about rolling eyes up and then walking down some stairs, wouldn't I?
Yes.
Walking down some stairs.
Walking straight on the...
Or walking straight along a path. and just becoming more and more relaxed with every step. So that's all it is. There is nothing frightening or out of control about it. And you said you can't open your eyes only if you're happy and you trust me. My daughter once opened her eyes, got up, walked out of the room and said, she's shouting at me. Some people do still open their eyes just to test me. But there you go. From your perspective, you couldn't open yours. From
No,
most people's perspective, they can't.
Maybe if I force.
But it's just a suggestion to see whether or not your system is trusting me. But it's very interesting to experience, isn't it? Very interesting to experience. And the thing I said before we wrap up that I wanted to say, I've completely forgotten what it was. It was something to do with rolling your eyes up.
That's a surprise because I didn't know what you want to say.
No, well, we don't know anything because we said we were just going to do it
kind of
without a script.
No script.
Because it's not interesting if it's scripted.
Just a couple.
We'll have to hope we've been interesting, won't we? But whether or not we have been, I don't know. If anybody's got any questions.
Is it different because you said online from the? Is this does the people have the same results if it's in person or?
Yeah, fantastic results with it. From it was one of the things they taught us while we were down there was how to do it on screen. I've treated people all over the world. Led in Chicago just last week on Wednesday night. I'm quite good at staying up late so that I can do people on the other side of the world because it's so interesting and it's wonderful. But yeah, it's the same result. I like meeting people face to face. I like to be able to put my hand on them and that, you know, it's not always possible. And if it's a choice between getting help and not getting help, definitely it works beautifully. Skypnosis, Marissa calls it. And it works very, very well indeed, yes.
Good to know. Yes, I wanted the physical. You asked me if I want on the phone, or I think you asked me, but I wanted to have a physical session.
Yeah, to come here. How far have you driven to get here? What, an hour?
An hour, yes, from Leeds.
People have come from all over the place because it is nice to, or sometimes people will have a first session on Skype and then they travel like quite a long way. It's lovely, isn't it, to meet people. But yeah, it does work just as well on screen. So I hope you've enjoyed watching us on screen. Yes, if you stayed with us this long, congratulations.
Yes.
Maybe you were a little bit bored. Or maybe you just want to know the answer to getting well.
Yes, that's
well, this is where it is. House of RTT in Barrack-in-Helmet in Leeds. Awarded for being the best hypnotherapist in Yorkshire. So you can put your trust in me. I can't wait to meet you and bring your problem. Let's solve it. Thank you, Irina.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
If I can close.